Hey Facebook friends, it's Misty. How are you guys this evening? Just wanted to get back to doing my vlogs with you since I took the month of January off. Actually, I think I took December off too, most of it. I wanted to start a new series with you and have some conversations and share with you some thoughts that might help you get some perspective in a different light. So this series is going to be called A Different Perspective, and I'm going to talk about some things that I've either had in conversations with other people or things that I'm thinking about that will hopefully challenge you in your life and relationships. So the thing I want to talk about tonight is, do you have to agree with anybody and everybody in order to have a friendship or a relationship, or to be kind, to be respectful, to be considerate, to be generous, to be loving? And the reason I'm sharing these thoughts with you is because sometimes I get told, Misty, I don't always agree with your opinion, or I don't agree with your perspective, or I don't see things the way you do. And I find it interesting that our evaluation of relationships is based on the fact whether or not we agree with somebody. Because when you think of going to school and you think of learning from someone else, we usually are learning on a topic that we're not familiar with and that we want to be educated more on, right? If you join a mastermind, you're joining a mastermind group because you want to share ideas and perspectives. You want to hear from someone else's viewpoint what they might see. You want to know what they might see that you don't, that you might be blind to. And if you're only looking for relationships that agree with you on everything, you're not going to grow. You're not going to expand. You're not going to see things from a different light. You're not going to come into a deeper relationship of understanding how other people live their lives and what brings about that change from a viewpoint that you have. So when I share thoughts with you, I share because they are either something I believe or something I have been taught, or there's something that I'm expanding in my own thought process and learning about. Our beliefs can change. If you followed my journey for very long, you know it wasn't 5 years ago I didn't even wear pants. And if you had met me in that time frame of my life, I would have told you that for a woman to wear pants was wrong. So the beliefs I have now, as I expand and grow and God brings more things into my life, I'm liable to change my perspective on. You have to decide if you want to have your relationships be only based on performance. A relationship based on performance is never going to bring you true value, true commitment, true connection, true understanding, true joy, true happiness, because you're always going to be looking for your value based on whether they receive how you think, how you act, and your point of perspective. A true relationship is one that's going to be open to hearing your side of the story and hearing how you came to that conclusion, or you have this belief, and talk with you about it. A true relationship is going to want to have that opportunity to share in your life and see a different perspective than they currently have. So when people tell me, Misty, I don't always agree with your perspective, I don't always see things the way you do, I'm okay with that. Because I know that I have changed and grown. I'm 42 and I haven't always had the perspectives I have now. And that's part of growing and changing. That's part of learning and adapting and pruning those things out of your life that aren't the way you want to live. My beliefs about Christmas, my beliefs about wearing makeup, my beliefs about wearing pants. There's many things in my life that have changed over the last few years. Some of the things I share now challenge you in your beliefs. All I'm doing when I share ideas to help you create the life that you want and to live intentionally is that you get to choose how you live. You get to choose what's important to you. You get to choose who's in your circle. And if you're looking for relationships that are only based on the fact, do I agree with you? You're only going to have performance-based relationships. You're never going to feel a true connection with people. You're never going to feel that you can be open and real and raw and vulnerable, because the basis of your relationship is whether or not somebody agrees with you, whether or not your perspective is in alignment with theirs. I actually sometimes think having dialogue and conversations with people you do not agree with will stretch and grow you more, because it helps you reevaluate what's important to you. It helps you look at how did I come up with these beliefs? And what's my foundation for my beliefs? And what's the foundation for my perspective? And am I trying to really get to know somebody else in a space of love, or is it coming from judgment? When you are in a position where you will only tolerate relationships that are in 100% agreement with you, that is not love. That is judgment. That is not acceptance. That is judgment. In order to really receive each other and to really be able to create a relationship, you've got to allow the other person to have a different perspective than yours. And you've got to be able to give that space to love them through it, even if you don't agree. If you're only going to have relationships based on if you agree with everybody on everything, you're not going to have very deep connections. So I want to share that with you to inspire you and encourage you that maybe have a conversation tonight with somebody that you do not agree with. Maybe learn from their eyes why they have a belief about something. Ask them. Have a casual conversation. It doesn't have to get ugly. It doesn't have to get intense. But a different perspective will help you see something maybe you weren't aware of. If you're only looking for relationships that agree with you on everything, you will never grow. So I'm not trying to create a circle of friends that agree with me on everything. I'm trying to create a circle of friends who want to have open dialogue and learn from each other and want to expand and grow. You become like the 5 closest people you hang out with. And if you want a circle that really supports you, if you're only cultivating with people that completely agree with you, you will never expand beyond your circle that you're in right now. You will never grow further than where you are right now. Your growth will only happen when you go beyond what feels like a comfort zone to you. When you expand beyond what feels normal, what feels appropriate, what feels safe. When you go beyond those zones in your relationships and in your conversations, you will see your life change. You will see your circle change. And it will help you not become so attached to what other people think about you. You'll create relationships with a true heart-to-heart connection, not based on whether people are accepting you and appreciating you and valuing you and agreeing with you. You will be authentic. You will be true to who you are, and you will be open, real, raw, and vulnerable, and share what really, really matters to you. So this series that I'm going to do this month is called A Different Perspective, and I'm going to share with you some thoughts along having a different perspective and going against mainstream culture and how to do that. So today's topic is talking about how you can create relationships that are true, authentic connections without feeling like you have to agree with them on everything. It's a choice to still show kindness. It's a still choice to be respectful, loving, generous. You do not have to be rude even if you don't agree with somebody. You can still be friends and you can still love them wholeheartedly without making an issue about the things you do not agree with. I have people in my circle that don't like the fact that I use language that they feel is inappropriate. I respect the fact that that's their viewpoint. That's not mine anymore. I respect the fact that you don't want that in your life. That's not mine anymore. If you're going to make that an issue in the relationship, it's on you. It's not on me. It's you making an issue in the relationship and saying, I can't tolerate you. I can't accept you because I don't believe with what you're doing. And I have people in my circle that are that way. But when you focus on having a conversation and learning about the other person and learning about what makes them feel the way they do, what's their belief behind it, why are they responding the way they do, you will have a true heart-to-heart connection, and it will not be based on performance. If you're looking for friendships that only agree with you on everything, you're going to end up being disappointed. You're going to end up being hurt. You're going to end up being let down and rejected over and over, because true connection never comes from always being accepted. It comes from being yourself, being open, real, raw, and vulnerable. And no matter if somebody disagrees with you, you can still be kind, generous, loving, gracious, considerate on all levels. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys tonight. I want to talk about how do you handle relationships when people say, I don't agree with you. I don't see your perspective. I don't like what you have to say. If you're only following people and creating relationships with people based on a fact of if they agree with you on everything, you're going to end up being really disappointed, because we all have different experiences and we all have a different perspective and we all are going through something different than the other person, and it affects how we live. So just wanted to share that with you tonight. As always, my goal is to encourage, support, and inspire you. I want to be a ripple effect into your life so that you're living intentionally and creating the life that you want. So I would love your thoughts on this and how you handle people in relationships that tell you they don't agree with you and they don't always understand your thought process and don't always value your opinion and how you handle those relationships. And what type of relationships are you trying to cultivate? Are you trying to cultivate relationships that stretch you and expand you and draw you to love? Or are you creating a circle around you that's full of judgment? It's a choice. It's a choice in who's in your circle. I want people in my circle that are full of love, acceptance, grace, kindness, even if we don't see eye to eye, even if we don't agree on everything. I grew up in a religious cult that shoved out people. If you didn't follow the rules exactly, you got excommunicated, you got marked, you got ridiculed, you got made fun of, you got punished. I want people in my world that don't necessarily live like I do, don't necessarily agree with everything I do, but love me and accept me and appreciate me for who I am, not trying me to make me be something else that I'm not. So, in your life, what's important to you in a relationship? Are you trying to create relationships with people that only believe in you because they agree with you or because they love you? Who's in your circle? Who's in your tribe? Who are you going to be? Go be courageous, be generous, be loving, and I'll talk to you again soon. We're going to do a series, like I said, on a discussion of a different perspective. Love you guys.